Hey folks, it's Frithgar here, how you doing? So, the question that I asked you for last week before we go any further was, do you want me to buy Field 9, I think it was, that one, hang on, there we go, Field 9 or Field 12? And to be honest, the answers are about 50-50. A lot of people saying I should go Field 12 because we are going to need the grass. We do have a bit of grass up here that we can get to. But then I've also had a lot of people saying, if I bring it up here, you might be able to see it a bit clearer. So I've also had a lot of people saying, go for Field 9, silage the maize that's in there, and then replant the field with grass. And so you sort of get the best of both worlds. Now, I think we'll have time to actually do that, and I think that could be the better solution. So I am going to go for Field 9. We're going to silage what's in there, and then we'll hire back the Rossel mash when we come to silage that, and then we'll plant it out with grass so that hopefully we can get enough grass for our feeder here. Now, our feeder has been going strong. He's working here again, and he's just slowly coming down here. He's got a load in him now, and he'll be feeding in for the cattle again. I still have no clue about how to move that sign. I'm not even sure that you can. I did look it up a bit, but I couldn't find any information. I'm probably looking in the wrong place. I've got to be honest, I didn't spend all that long looking for it. Perhaps I should have done. But anyway, it's not really affecting the game very much, which is why I didn't spend a lot of time on it. My question for this week, I was going to get a different combine. I had a few people say that we've used old combines, we've used this combine. They would like to see some newer machinery. And we have a chance here on this map to use a smaller new combine. So what I've decided is I used on one of the other maps, I used the Lexion 580. It was a nice big machine, or was it Lexion 600? One of them anyway. But as we got a small map, I thought it'd be quite good to use one of these two. So we'll either use the Lexion 430 or we'll use the Lexion 460. Both little machines. And that's the C600, that's the C540. I guess you could use them with either one. They're not huge headers, these. The C600 is that one, and that's the 540 foldable. Okay, that's quite different. So we could have a foldable header there. That's a 5.4 meter, and that's a 6 meter. So they're not very big. They're not big headers, but we can leave the combine sort of chugging away in the field with a big trailer there, and we can go and fill up every now and then when we need to. And so we got the 430 or the 460. So it's your vote, it's your game. Head down to the comment section down below. Let me know which one you think I should get, the Lexion 460 or the Lexion 430. We will probably have to hire them. I can't see that we'd be able to afford to buy one of those anytime soon. I'm going to put a couple of scoops of silage into this plant here while I'm at it. I filled the silage up to about the same level as the grass in our robot feeder down there, and so before we get anything else in there, that's way too far. I got a feeling I just wasted a lot of that, or did I? Maybe not. 7,200. No, that actually seems about right. So yeah, I put it to about the same level as the grass. We're going to need to cut some more grass and put it in there. We're also going to need more grass in for the sheep, but I did say that I was going to do lime and start doing a little bit of seeding today. No clue what I'm going to actually plant. I don't think we've got any OSR anywhere on this map, so I might just plant some OSR. Be something a little bit different that we haven't done before, but I'll put a couple scoops in there, just because I can. And you know what, that'll do for now. Let's not get carried away. We've got other things that we want to do. There we go. Right, I have the fertilizer spreader just round here. He is already loaded up. He's on the Deutz. The Deutz has the homemade weight on the front. It's the older Deutz, oh, incidentally, someone did say in the chat section that they have used an air-cooled Deutz, the same as me. This is the Agrostar 6.6. So, the Deutz Agrostar, yeah, but they use an air-cooled Deutz, same as me. They're not very common, the reason being they were rubbish. And the person who wrote in there that they had also used one, agreed with me. They didn't like it. They thought that it was not a very good machine at all. So I'm not alone in that. Anyway, let's spread this. I got lime in this one. I thought it'd be quite cool. I know I've used lime in my time-lapse series, but I haven't actually used it on any other map. Right, let's go. See how he does. This one, it doesn't show up like it does in the other one. I don't think it's got the It's got the lime available, but it appears that the GMK doesn't show up quite the same as it does in the other one that I use in the time-lapse series. Because that really showed up, that did. You got to see that quite a lot. It shows up like proper snow across the field. This, not so much. Still. Alright, apparently I don't own that field. So, let's come off there. And how shall I do this? I'm just going to come along here. If I waste a little bit, that's okay. Actually, yeah, alright. You know what? We'll just do it like this. Let's go. We'll do it like this. And I think I will do this field myself, rather than leaving the hired help just to finish it off. And once we've done this, we are going to head over to our lorry that is over on the... Is it going to let me actually spread it, even though it's screaming at me that I don't own the field? Yes, it is. It's letting me do it. We've got the log fork over there. That's ready to go. I need to buy a chainsaw because, remember, we're not going to be using the Scorpion. Ooh, I'm missing a great big chunk there. I am terrible. I'm watching the side instead of watching the tractor. So I'm actually not driving in a straight line at all, and I'm weaving far too much. That's a bit better. Right, now spin round like that. I know I just left the corner a bit. Yeah. Fertilizing in this game is quite a bit different to how you would do it in real life. I mean, yes, you kind of watch the edges, but you wouldn't do it quite like this. I think I did talk about this once before. Let me try. I'll just get to the end here. Let me see if I can explain. So when you're going along, you do the outside round, and the outside round has got to reach the hedge. And so you drive along and you just make sure that outside bit just touches the hedge. So the outside wouldn't normally get done. Now, here in this game, you wouldn't drive along here. But in real life, this is where you would go. And if you just look a second, you can't quite see it, but the fertilizer there is reaching the wheel mark that I have made. And you want it to sort of go between the two wheel marks. And that's where you would do it. And you go across the field so that it always reaches the wheel mark. So you essentially give 2 coats over everything except for the outside round. Although you don't do that in this game. You just do the 1 coat because the extra bit doesn't make any difference. You adjust your speed accordingly. You know that you're going to do 2 coats. So you sort of you go fast enough or restrict the flow fast enough if you've got a newer fertilizer spinner. It doesn't just have an open and close. And so you make sure that you sort of take that into account. Now, if I just come over here, there we go. And so, yeah, I have done that, but I've only ever done fertilizer spreading on grass, and that is how you do it when you're on grass. I have never done fertilizer spreading on an actual crop. And so there you would use tram lines, and so you wouldn't have the overlap that you would when you're doing it over a grass crop. It's a little bit different. And as I'm not very familiar with the process, how it's done, anything like that, I'm not really going to say one way or the other. I'm sure plenty of people here will have done it. But no, we're back when I used to work on various farms. You've got to get a special ticket to be allowed to spread many chemicals or use a sprayer in the fields, especially on the bigger farms. If you're on a small farm, you can get away with it because it's just like one-on-one tuition and you're learning how to do it. Bigger farms, they tend to make sure that you've got all the correct tickets before you start doing anything of the sort. It's the P... I can't remember what it is now. I think it's the P1 and P3, is it? Or is it 5 and 6? I can't remember. There's like 6 different pesticide application, I believe it's called. And you've got various different ones. One is for granules, one is for spraying. You've got fertilizer spraying, herbicides. There's all sorts of different ones that you've got. You've got handheld sprayers. So I can't remember which ones they were, and I was going to do them at one point. One farm was going to pay for them, and then he changed his mind. Decided that he didn't want to spend out on me doing that. Right, now what was I going to do next? Oh, yes, I know. Got completely carried away there. Actually, we'll use the AgroStar to do this, because I want to start doing some seeding. It's all cultivated and everything is ready, so I don't actually... I'm going to have to lower that down. So let's start this one up again. I got distracted, I do apologise. Now, ordinarily, there's another thing I'm not too keen about with this game, is I suppose we could try and find a mod that would do it, so that you've got a block. when you have a fertilizer spreader, you don't just unhitch like we do here. And see, I'll take that one off. And now if I take this off, boom, straight down on the ground. You wouldn't do that. You would have a load of concrete blocks that you put underneath it so that it lifts it up into the air and holds it there. And that's where you leave your fertilizer spreader. So yeah, it's that's the bit that I've never particularly liked. It would be pretty cool if I could find just a small mod that would allow me to do that. Although I'm not going to worry too much about it now. Now let's jump in and refill. Right, I'm going to get this one refilled and up into the field and decide what I'm going to plant. And we're away. So, I'm doing OSR, or canola, depending on your part of the world. This is going to take a while. I'm just going to go up and down the ends, I think, a few times. And then I'll let the hired help carry on. I think this tractor is really going to struggle to get it done, though. I really do. He doesn't seem to like this at all. I'm not sure if he's going to get up the hill. That's going to be the big one, is can he make it up the hill? Now, we're going to have to lift to turn on this corner. It's going to be too sharp to swing round, especially... Right, let's lift that one up. I can leave the drill running because with most drills, it's when they're actually on the ground. They have a wheel that runs on the ground, and that actually is the bit that allows the seed to drop down through. So you can leave the thing running as long as you like. It's only when you're moving forward. So if you're going really slow, like we are right now, it's not going to stop you. Right, that's a bit better. It's probably because my pedal, I've got the pedals on my steering wheel set so that they're slightly slower than maximum speed. So I put the foot all the way to the floor. It doesn't go maximum speed. I have to engage the... I have a button set for maximum speed, and I have to press the button to let the maximum speed engage so that it goes a little bit faster. So if I just use the pedal, I struggle a bit on the hill sometimes, and I do occasionally forget about that, but I've got it set like that because I just find it more convenient, that's all. But I tell you what, we've seen seeding. We've done a lot of seeding here and now. Apparently I don't own this field. It's going to... yeah, it's going to stop me from seeding there altogether now, isn't it? I'm trying to do it legally. Anyway, technically I do own this field. What are you talking about? Alright, let's lift that one out. Oh, so I own... Oh, well, no, it's because I've lifted it out the ground, isn't it? Right, let's start here. I reckon if I moved over just a tiny, tiny little bit... Yeah. I was just a fraction too close. That's what it was. Yeah, we're going to get a chainsaw. And we're going to go over to the woods over there. We're going to cut down a few trees. We're going to take our JCB. And we're going to use the log fork that is over at the dealership, just over there. And we're going to chuck some of those trees straight into the chipper. And I'm hoping that we can get away without even having to bother stripping the branches off. That will make life a lot easier. Let me just lift there. Back round a bit. And in we go again. So we'd chuck them into the chipper, and then once we got the wood going, we can take that to the two different locations on the map where I've got people for making beehives, and hopefully they can turn wood chips into beehives, although I have actually attempted to make... I haven't completely made a beehive in real life, but I have made a couple of sections of a beehive. They're called... The section that... the hive sort of splits into various components. You have a big chamber on the bottom. That's called the brood box. That's where the queen usually... It's where you usually try to keep the queen. Sometimes, they come in different sizes. Sometimes you don't just keep the queen there, but generally speaking, you would keep the queen there in the brood box. Then you have smaller sections on top, and those are called supers. And in a super, that is where the bees typically will store most of the honey. They won't store all of it. Some of it they will store in the brood chamber with the queen. But most of it gets stored in the supers on the top. And I have made a couple of supers to go with some of my hives. And I don't recall at any point in the manufacturing process, when I was busy making my supers, doing it with wood chips. I'm pretty sure I had to use some fairly high quality sawn timber, and wood chips wouldn't have done a great deal. So we are just going, for those purists among us, we are just going to have to overlook the fact that we are attempting to do the impossible here by making a solid wooden structure out of wood chips, and we're not actually compressing it to make sterling board. Well, we call it sterling board in the UK. It's basically big wood chips all compressed down together, and they use it a lot on building sites, as it's the cheapest board that you can get. They sort of use it for segregating different areas and keeping people out of building sites, but they also use sterling board for, well, like I used it when I built my garden shed. I put this big sheet of board over the roof, and then I put tar paper stuff, roofing felt, kind of like a tar paper. See, I know that what we call it in the UK, but I'm very aware that there's a lot of places in the world where you call these things something else completely. So it's called felt, but it's kind of like a thick sheet. It is quite thick, where it's made out of tar and with grit all across one side, and you use that for going over your roof, and it provides a waterproof layer across your roof. Oops, I just turned it off then. Right, anyway, I am going to get this field ready for the auto help to carry on and do, and then we can at least make sort of head up towards the forestry up there so that we can start doing a bit of chainsawing and stuff like that. And is this field actually fertilized? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'll see you in a minute. Right, he's working over there, and he's doing a grand job. I have brought the JCB up over here, and we now have a log fork. Let's just see if this one works. Yes, excellent. Look at that. Perfect log fork. And I have also bought a chainsaw. We have a choice on chainsaws for... There's 3 different makes, and one of them I've never heard of. Xentro. I'm assuming that's a European brand, so could well be pronounced Jonsud rather than Jonsud. McCulloch. Now, I'm sure there are good McCulloch stuff out there, but I have used, I mean, admittedly it's not chainsaws, but it was a McCulloch strimmer. It was one that I bought myself many years ago when I was quite a bit younger than I am now. And I wanted to do some strimming for people. Do you call them strimmers elsewhere in the world? I think maybe they're brush cutters, are they? You know, the handheld type things? I'm not quite sure, but anyway, we call them strimmers. So I bought a McCulloch strimmer, and we had nothing but trouble with it right from the very start. It was an absolute pig of a machine. It was awful. Absolutely terrible. You couldn't start the thing. I was always having trouble with it. All sorts of trouble with breaking down. It wouldn't cut very well. It was underpowered. We took it back to the shop, and the man that sold it to me, he said, well, yeah, we have had a lot of trouble with McCulloch machines. That's great. You know, you could have told me that when I was there trying to buy it from you. But yeah, he neglected to mention it when I was buying it from him. So anyway, that was a lesson learned back when I was 15 years old. I have never been one to trust the McCulloch brand ever since because of that bad experience. And I know you shouldn't typically base everything off of one bad experience. That is generally not the way that you should go about doing things. But I am very prejudiced this time because I spent a long time saving up the money for that when I was 15. I worked very hard to save up the money, and I was bitterly disappointed with that whole experience. And so I will be biased against McCulloch machinery, and I will not buy them again, and I will also not look favourably upon them. So yeah, that's just my little bit of prejudice, my lesson in the world of strimmers. So I've no idea what the chainsaws are like, not a clue, and but I've no intention of finding out either. So I'm sticking with a brand that I know is absolutely brilliant. I own a Husqvarna chainsaw. It's quite a small one, and it's also about 30 years old. It used to be my grandfather's, and he passed it on to me. My father owns a Husqvarna chainsaw, and he's used it a lot. Now, I was going to try and put one of these trees in whole into that thing, but I don't think they're going to fit. I think we are going to need to cut them up a little bit. So let's get the old chainsaw out again. And am I going to need to cut the leaves off? I don't know if I do or not, but we'll chop the leaves off of this one, and we'll leave the leaves... Oop, how can I do this? There, like that. Run down it like that. There we go. That's the leaves taken off. So yeah, we do have Husqvarna chainsaws, personally, and I find them very good. I like the Husqvarna. I think it is an excellent machine. I have used brand spanking new ones straight out of the factory, and I have used my own 30-year-old one, and I can't fault the machines. I think they are absolutely superb. They are brilliant. So that is why I've gone for the Husqvarna, and that is why I will stick with the Husqvarna when I am playing this game. Now, I'm sure if there are any of you out there who've had good experiences with... maybe if I reach really high, I could get this one. Let's have a look. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, people who've had good experiences with McCulloch, please let me know. I would love to hear about it. It'd be quite interesting to hear about people who've had good, positive experience with the machines. Are there anybody out there who have had good experiences with the machines? I'm sure there must be some, else the brand wouldn't still be going. I'm fairly sure of that. I'm pretty sure that's how the whole market thing works. You know, if your brand is that terrible, it's just not going to continue onwards. But I think that's probably enough cutting, and I have actually run out of time, so I should probably stop now anyway. So let's get rid of the chainsaw. We've got one smaller log there, and oh, I am so looking forward to FS17. I just thought, you know, the small logs like that, we could probably even pick that up by hand and lob it into that machine. I am so looking forward. There's one little tiny bit of the new game I'm so looking forward to. It's going to be epic. Absolutely brilliant. I think I have mentioned it before, but Kung Fu Panda 3, the bit where, and yes, I watch Kung Fu Panda. I watch all the animated films. I love animated films. They are fantastic, okay? If you don't, that's up to you. That's your thing. I personally, I really love them. There's all sorts of good ones. But Kung Fu Panda 3, he's just met up with the other panda. I won't tell you who it is. And they're just getting to know each other. The other panda is in Master, I think it's Flying Rhino, Master Flying Rhino's armor in the Jade Temple. And he says, you should really take it off. And the other panda says, okay, but what does this toggle do? Shall I pull it? And so he pulls it, and you get all these wings come out, and it's epic stuff, and it's really, really cool, and it's epic. And Poe, when he's looking at him, he just kind of goes, oh, and his eyes go all massive and sparkly, and yeah. If you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, go and watch it just for that bit. That is me when I see things like you'll be able to pick objects up in the next farming simulator. Yeah, I'm like that. I'm that enthusiastic about it. Okay, so yeah. Little bit about me there. We will continue on with our logs in our next episode. I am going to walk back to the farm in just a minute, and I'm going to get a tractor and a trailer so that we can then put it onto the back of this. The other thing that we're going to need before we can fire up this bad boy, this beast... Oh, that thing looks epic. That thing really does look epic. We're going to need fuel. We're going to need to get a fuel bowser. We're going to need to put fuel in it, and we're going to need to bring it up here. And I think you can actually pull the fuel bowser with this one. So I might drive this back, get a fuel bowser, and bring it up, drag it up with this one, and then bring up a tractor and trailer separately. I think I might do that. Yeah. So anyway, the question for this week is, let me just do this very, very quickly. Do you want me to get the Lexion 430? Hang on. Where is it? No good me just talking about it. I need to show you. There we go, the Lexion 430, that beast there. Or do you want me to get the Lexion 460, which is that one right there? No pressure or anything, but it was the Lexion 430 that I used to drive. I have had a go on some much older combines, but the only new combine that I have ever actually personally driven was the Lexion 430. So I'm just throwing that out there, you know, just as a conversation piece. The Lexion 430 was the one that I used to drive. I have a close connection with that particular machine right there. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know. Just so you can, you know, think about that. Anyway, right. Enough of that nonsense. If you've enjoyed this episode, could you please head down below and give me a like? That would be great. And if you really enjoyed it, please tell your friends about me. Get them to come and watch as well. Share it on your Facebook page. Whatever it is that you do to get other people to come and watch my videos, that would be absolutely awesome, and I would really appreciate it. Until next time, thank you very much for watching. This is Frithgar. Goodbye, and see you later.